Brad Evans here, another Bring the Noise AMA right here on Bleacher Report. Fire away with all your various fantasy football questions here for the next several minutes. I'm going to grab and give you my 2 cents on every single stinking one of them that we possibly can here in our short amount of time together. Oh boy, talk about stinker. We thought that was going to be a high scoring affair in España, but honestly, I think we had to chug an entire case of Tempranillo to survive this sucker. I'm glad this is on foreign soil, not being played on American soil. It's 13 all between the Commanders and Dolphins. Could be a nail biter, but for those of us in the fantasy football community that were looking for a pew, 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 an anticipated shootout, both these defenses have been largely lousy. I think both of these offenses have been largely asleep at the wheel. So 13 all with the Commanders knocking at the door, splashing 6 right now across the pond. Again, keep your questions coming. We're going to lock and load those here in a matter of moments. There'll be a couple of game breakdowns as those are coming in fast and furious. Let's start with my Chicago Bears taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Player I love in that game is DJ Moore. Hey, Mr. DJ took the over on 40.5 receiving yards. And you look at Minnesota, yes, they're number 7 in drop back EPA defense, but probably going to get a mixture of Isaiah Rodgers and Byron Murphy. Both those guys well inside the top 40. The most yards allowed to their assignments this season. DJ Moore, appreciable yak machine, 25 is his ranking at Todiac among wide receivers. He's gone over 40.5 receiving yards in 6 contests. Remember, way back in week 1, 3 grabs for 68. I think he could be an X factor for the monsters of the Midway on the road in the land of 10,000 lakes. Meanwhile, in Carolina, Atlanta, I think Darnell Mooney is finally going to arrive on the scene. We finally got some news on why he was really been off to a sluggish start, suffered a collarbone break over the summer. That was just revealed. I think he's a guy coming off an 8-target game. He can say we're close to that kind of volume. He's going to hit the over on 27.5 receiving yards and gets the Carolina Panthers. Why? Carolina, number 24 in dropback EPA. D on the season, 15 WRs have reached at least 28 against them. And you'll see a lot of J.C. Horn coverage, who has given up the 15 most yards of any defensive back in the NFL. So watch out. Darnell Mooney could be sleepy, could be a shocker special here of sorts in week number 11. All right, let's take a time out before we'll get to the next slate of games, get to some of your questions. Keep on firing those, and I'm going to answer them as quickly as possible. Alana, who is our awesome producer, do me a favor and also include who the chat question is coming from, because we got a number of them right now that are locking and loading. So I'd love to get a shout out to the source of what the inquiry is. We have a question coming in: Gadsden or Kelsey? I am going to go with Oronde Gadsden. I think it's really close between him and Mr. Taylor Swift, but Oronde Gadsden in that matchup today, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have been ultra generous to tight ends this season. They were inside the top 5 in those fantasy points allowed to that position. I think Gadsden is going to have the slight advantage over Travis Kelce. Got another one here, Kareem Hunt. Speaking of KC, or Jacoby Myers in his second game as a member of Duval County. I think Kareem Hunt's got to find the end zone. So it really is contingent upon your league's scoring format. That is any form of PPR. I'd probably go Jacoby Myers. I know Brian Thomas going to be in uniform today for Jacksonville. And who knows what version of Trevor Lawrence we're going to get. But I think Myers will have a little bit more upside in PPR. If it's more of a standard where touchdowns everything, give me the hunter-gatherer, that being Kareem Hunt. BuzzBomb04 says, Tez or Wilson? I'm going to go with Tez. Look, I think Tez Johnson's a guy who has been the apple of one Baker Mayfield's eye, especially in red zone packages. He scored a touchdown 3 of his last 5 games. I think Baker, the touchdown maker, will somewhat arrive in Western New York today. And I think one of those end zone spirals will go to Tez Johnson. Speaking of Tez, got one here from Tez or Parker Washington. Again, I think Tez has a little bit more upside I think, Parker Washington in terms of receptions may outplay Tez Johnson, but I like the touchdown appeal there of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a wide receiver. All right, again, keep your questions coming. Let's go the next slate of games here on this Bring the Noise AMA, live right now on a Bleacher Report and streaming on YouTube. Let's go that Tampa and Buffalo game. And I like K-Don and living in the land down under, folks. Yes, I'm going to fade Cade on 41.5 receiving yards at a minus 115 juice. The reason being is this: Buffalo's number 6 in drop back EPA defense, but they've allowed the fewest tight end yards through the air this season, only getting 26.9 per game. Only 2 tight ends have gone for 42 against them this season. You look at Odden. Yes, I know he's run odd hand, hit the over on 41.5 yards in 4 of his last 5. But you look at a lot of the secondary analytics, and it paints kind of an ugly picture. He's number 29 average at the target, number 20 in yards per route run. He's averaging under the needed number. So I will minimize him because the matchup is not all that attractive. Give me the under on K-Dot and 41.5 receiving yards. How about Houston and Tennessee? Give me the over. Marks the spot, baby. Woody Marks on 61.5 rush yards. I think he's an RB2 through and through in 12-team formats this week. Why? The Tennessee Titans are rubbish. In the trenches as you look and see what they have done this season. Number 27 in rush EPAD. They have also given up the 8th most rush yards, the running back position, surrendering 4.92 yards per carry, 114.3 rush yards per game. And you look, nine running backs have gone over 61.5 rush yards against him. And Marks, coming off his highest snap share of the season at 81.3%, is going to be the main man, I feel, for somebody rocking the boots. I date myself there, 90s R&B reference with H-Town, but it certainly applies to Woody Marks. Meanwhile, Green Bay and the Giants, so we're going to get back to your questions here in a second. I'm going to go deep with Christian Watson. I took the over 37.5 receiving yards. I think he's a WR3 in 12-team formats through and through today against the G-men, who have been miniaturized, to say the least. They're number 22 in dropback EP80. They've allowed the 3rd most wide receiver yards of any defense this season. 19 guys, 19 have gone for at least 3 against him. He's going to see some Deontay Banks in coverage, who has given up the 4th highest passer rating of any defensive back in the NFL. And Watson, he's cruised past the 37.5 yards in each of his first 3 games back, averaging over 23 yards per catch. So I like Watson quite a bit there as a WR3. Again, I keep the questions coming, fools. I am here for the next several minutes to help you out the best way that I can. And we got a question coming in from Alex Rod. Choose one. JMO. Khalil Shakur, no Keon Coleman today, or Devontae Smith, and also roam with the defense, Baltimore or the 49ers. First and foremost, I'm going to go with the Ravens on defense. And then secondly, I'm going to go with Devontae Smith. Slight advantage over the other 2 guys there. I know JMO is white hot right now, but if Philadelphia is going to compete in this matchup against Detroit, they're going to have to uncork down to the field. And who's been the most reliable weapon down the field? It's not been A.J. Brown. It's been Devontae Smith. So give me the Slim Reaper there. I don't know who this is coming from, but they're asking, hey, should I start A.J. Brown? It's all contingent on what are your other options, right? I've got A.J. Brown as kind of a fledgling, just a mediocre WR3 this week. Maybe he read Inner Excellence again, cover to cover, and will have some of that added motivation. But yeah, man, he's been a colossal letdown. Again, if you have some better options that are out there, like a Quentin Johnston, for example, I would play him at A.J. Brown. Ted's asked Jerry, Judy, or T. Higgins. I say tee off, bro. Hit it right down the fairway, and maybe like for 350 yards, because I think he's going to catch a bomb against Pittsburgh. We know the weaknesses of Pittsburgh have been all season on the back end defensively, outside the top 20, and drop back EPA defense. I don't think we're going to have a replication of the age-old showdown between the pair of wrinkly passers that we had earlier this season, but both these defenses stink, much like what the Muff did there on that attempted punt return for Washington. I believe Miami Dolphins have it. They're going to be in business here. on the Washington side of the field. Oh, what a colossal mistake in a tie game. But two bad franchises. This kind of thing happens. 4:11 to go. Miami very much in business to maybe, possibly win this game as Sandra still puts it on the ground on the muff punt. Ivan Moda says J.J. McCarthy or Baker Mayfield. I'm a Bears fan through and through. The Bears on the back end defensively are craptastic. Look, I like Baker quite a bit. I think Baker will have a decent day, but if you want to chase the upside, I go with JJ. He could be somewhat dynamite today. Maybe a lot of JJ to JJ in that one. Again, one more. We'll get back to the game breakdowns. Joel's 0415, Sutton, Gadsden, Parker, Washington, or Trey Tucker. Oh, man, really tight. Give me Rondé Gadsden. Again, Jacksonville has had so many issues defending the tight end this season. I'm going to take advantage of that matchup, and he is A-OK coming off that deep quad bruise that he suffered in week 10. All right. Keep your questions coming, folks. I'm going to get back to them here in a minute. But I need to get back to some of these game breakdowns and give you some more fantasy football and betting thoughts. And let's start off in that matchup in Western PA, and it could be, first to 30, at least we hope and pray for fantasy football purposes kind of game between Joe Flacco and Aaron Rodgers. I love me some Fryer Muth anytime touchdown. I grabbed a plus 240 earlier this week there at BetMGM. Bengals are allergic to defending tight ends. That is very well known, very well publicized in the world of numbers, and being a numbers nerd, I'll give you the specific details of what they've given up. They've given up 12 touchdowns to the position alone, along with 6.8 receptions, 80.2 yards per game. The Bengals number 31 to drop back KPA defense. I know you got Jonnu. I know you got the big man there and Darnell Washington. A lot of tight ends. Hell, maybe Connor Hayward is going to catch a touchdown, but I think Fryer Muth has a really good shot to spike one home. He has a really good shot, finish inside the tight end top 10 this week. Remember, folks, he has caught an end zone strike from Aaron Rodgers in 3 of his last 5 games. Moving on to the Chargers and Jags. Quentin Johnston, man, apply that stickum, baby. And I hope you're going to catch a whole lot of passes. Took the over on 3.5 grabs at plus 100 juice. I also took it at 5 or more grabs at 2-1 odds. And the reason being is this. You look at Jacksonville, middle of the pack. They're middling. Number 19, a drop back KPA defense. They're giving up the 11th most receptions to the wide receiver position this year. And we'll see a whole lot of Grant Newsome in coverage, who's getting up the 13th most catches of any DB in the NFL, along with a 123.5 passer rating. And Johnson has caught at least 4 balls in 6 of 9 games this year. So this could be anywhere between a 4 to 6 catch kind of game for him, I feel. 50-plus yards, really good shot at touchdown. I think he is a premium WR3 in 12-team leagues this week. One more, and I'll get back to your questions. Kyron Williams in that showdown between the Seahawks and Rams. I'm going to take the over, not a rush yards, not a rushing touchdowns, but receptions. That number 2.5, I grabbed it at plus 120 juice. Seattle's been outstanding on the back end defensively. Number 10 in drop back EPA defense, but the flat is always wide ass open. They're giving up the second most receptions to running back position, 52 in total, 9 times 9. 9 running backs have gone over 2.5 catches against him. Williams running 17.3 routes per game. He's catching 75.9% of the passes thrown his way. He's only gone over 2.5 catches twice, but he could be sneaky effective in PPR formats today, given the shortcomings defensively of Seattle there in the trenches. As I'm watching Devon Achane get a sizable gain, 1st and 10 for Miami. As we're approaching 3-minute mark in the 4th quarter, I think they're already in field goal range. Miami may be able to put this sucker away, draining the clock down the process, considering the Commanders can't stop a soul right now on the ground. But again, this game has been a massive disappointment, and thank God the Europe games are going to be over with because a lot of them have been snooze fests, to say the least. All right, back to your questions here. I keep them coming here on the Bleacher Report AMA. EM9797, Jordan Addison, or Romeo. We're for out that Romeo Dobbs. I'm going to go Jordan Addison. Again, the Bears just stanky on the back end defensively, and that game has got a considerable amount of shootout appeal. I love my Bears, but yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Jordan Addison. Amber Quartz, oh, the McConkey donkey or Johnson. Look, I love Johnson. I think they're going to have comparable numbers, but who's got the higher and safer floor? Saddle up the McConkey donkey and ride. I think a lad, good candidate for 5-6 catches, 60 plus yards, may get in the end zone as well. He gets the advantage over his teammate. A Rich J85, Baker of Flacco. I'm going to get with Flacco, doing it for all us 40-year-old guys that are out there. Yes, I'm ancient. I'm old. I got gray peppered in the beer like Flacco does. I can't sling it like he still can't either, but he's getting the job done. And he's got, I don't know, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins to throw the ball to. He's got my guy getting down with a maple syrup there, and Chase Brown to check the ball down too as well. Flacco, at least 270 yards and a couple of touchdowns. He's my play. Expert analysis. Why do you need my opinion? Thoughts on Chase Brown? Getting down. Chase. Oh, now, look, he had over 15 fantasy points in the last match at the Bonnie Chan. Oh, almost took the house down to the 6-yard line. Impressive drive here for the Miami Dolphins. Maybe able to slam the door and put the sucker away in España against the Washington Commanders, but I have no issue with Chase Brown. I think he's a top 20 running back through and through. I'm looking at a minimum of 70 to 80 combined yards, and a possible touchdown will be the steal or the soft curtain there at the venue formerly known as Heinz Field. All right, let's get back to the game breakdowns, and we're going to get back to your questions here in a second. Let's go to San Francisco and Arizona, as ain't he so Purdy is back, and so is Ricky Pearsall. The Niners are finally getting healthy. I'm going to go with a guy kind of off the radar, and Brian Robinson Jr., and I'm taking the over on 4.5 rush attempts. His role is kind of slightly growing. Look, the CMC football factory ain't going to make you sweat, baby. I know there's an age-old 90s reference, but anyway, Brian Robinson, CMC's going to be the main man, but Robinson will supplant him, I think, at least 5 times on the ground. He has gone over this prop in 5 of his last 7 games, seeing 22.2% of the snap share last week against the Rams, and Arizona's giving up 21.7 rush attempts per game. I like B-Rob quite a bit on that prop offering. Meanwhile, Baltimore and Cleveland, hey, here's the good news, folks. Sunshine and decent weather along Lake Erie. This time of year, you never know what you're going to get. 47 degrees at game time. Wind's going to be a little bit brisk, 16 to 23 miles an hour, but I don't think it's going to impact a passing game. I want some action on Lamar Jackson. I'll take the over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I grabbed that earlier this week at plus 100 there at BetMGM. You look at Cleveland. They're in the middle of the pack and drop back EPA defense. Clearly, their strength is defending the run. They've given up 15 touchdowns in 9 games. 4 quarterbacks are going over this, including Lamar. Lamar, last time he faced him in week 2, not 1, not 2, not 3. He had 4 end zone strikes. I'm watching A-Chan take it down about the foot line. It is going to be 3rd and goal, and Miami has had their issues punching it in today. We're going to find out what they do. Here's a suggestion. Give the ball to A-Chan. The God, don't get crazy with the cheese whiz, McDaniel. Lamar Jackson, I think he throws at least a couple end zone strikes today. And then Kansas City, Denver, fraud alert for the Denver Broncos. I don't think they're nearly as good as their lopsided record indicates. I love me some Rashee Rice today. Going to see a lot of Riley Moss at coverage, who's given up the 4th most yards of any defensive back, starting with supreme confidence, as you should, even in your 14 fantasy leagues. And I took the over as well on 71.5 receiving yards. I think it's going to haul in at least 80 today in the Mile High City. All right, we'll get to a couple of more games and those breakdowns here in a second. But I want to answer more of your questions. So, again, keep them coming here on this Bleacher Report AMA as we're in a commercial break with the Miami Dolphins knocking at the door, splashing 6 against Commanders. Espo says Vidal or RJ Harvey. Great question. Very close. I'm going to give the slightest advantage here to RJ Harvey. I think the volume's going to be a little bit higher. Tyler Batty has got to get a few touches because Jaleel McLaughlin could be in the mix as well. That's Sean Payton for you. But RJ Harvey even when J.K. Dobbins was on the field, was being heavily utilized in red zone packages. And what I'm hoping, fingers and toes crossed, Harvey's been more of the Joker role that we expected Evan Ingram to take on. So hopefully, you look at Sean Payne, he's really going to take advantage of those mismatches across the middle of the field as a receiver. Harvey is excellent as a pass catcher, and I think could be an X factor in that role today. Give me him barely over Kamani Vidal. Jose Perez says, hola, amigo. Should I start Arizona's Michael Wilson? I don't know what the other options are. I'm starting him in a 14-team league in a flex spot, just kind of give you an indication. So we'll sweat together on this. But with no Marvin Harrison, yes, the target share should be able to rise. And it's not like San Francisco is shut down by any stretch of the imagination on the back end defensively. They're inside the top 10 of pass EPA, but I will ride the expected volume. Give me Michael Wilson as a potential top 30 play among wide receivers this week. Ravens superfan, Goddard or Gadsden in a full point PPR. Again, I'm going to go with the Rondé Gadsden. As I already mentioned, he is good to go. He is going to be A-OK in this game health-wise. In Jacksonville, again, they're inside the top 5 in most fantasy points allowed to the tight end position. So take advantage of the matchup there. Colts King 184, Ferguson or Otten, full point PPR. Again, I'm fading Otten. The Bills have been shut down, locked down when defending opposing tight ends. Ferguson, I think, is going to be a point of emphasis. Get in the end zone. Oh, my God. Stood up again. Why can't Miami score the rock? Do you dare go for it here, or do you take the 3? I personally take the 3 and just get the lead, and which means this game will inevitably go in overtime. How can they not punch the damn rock in at the 6-inch line? This has just been repeated inaptitude in these situations. Credit where credit is due. Washington's been really good, standing tall in those scenarios, but this is bat bleeping crazy how bad the Dolphins have been in their, inside the 5 execution in this game. So it's 4th and goal. We're going to see if Miami stays out there. I think they're talking it over. Wild. Washington has no timeouts remaining. And, of course, the 2-minute warning is done. We got a minute 44 there on the clock. Cosmic Shark, Judkins, or Parker Washington? Aside with the guaranteed touches, give me Quinshawn Judkins. Kazora 18. Should I put a Dunze, Rashad White, or risk it and keep Devontae Adams in my flex? Well, Adams, look, I know he's not 100%, but it's a bad matchup for him to begin with Seattle. I take advantage of what I feel is a better matchup. The best matchup, honestly, is White. But Sean Tucker is going to be maybe a sneaky damn good producer today as a power back for Tampa with no Bucky Irving. I'm going to go with a Dunze. He's kind of a squeaky wheel. It recently got the grease, and I think he'll see a sizable amount of the target share today in a game, as I mentioned. A lot of shootout appeal up there in Minnesota. Alex Rod 80, Trey Tucker or Mooney. Again, I'm going to take the shot there with Darnell Mooney. Gut feeling that he finally breaks out of the funk coming off an 8-target game last week. He's due. And again, with the news of, explaining the slow start with that broken collarbone he suffered this summer, I mean, he's fine now, but that's the direction I go there. Bloom 11294, DK or JMO. I go with JMO, and then Lions 220, Swift or my guy. Get down! My dude, Chase Brown. I love both these guys this week. I'm firmly inside my top 20, but I'm going to take my dude, Chase Brown. Slight advantage over DeAndre Swift. All right, keep the questions coming. I'll get to another batch here in a minute. I got a couple of more games left to break down. Let's go to the Sunday night affair between the Lions and Fly, Eagles Fly. And I'm going to live in the land down under with Saquon Barkley as, oh my God, Miami couldn't get in the end zone. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why are you running it with Ollie Gordon in that situation? That's the other one I do not understand. Another goal line stand by the Commanders, a $1:40 to go. They have no timeouts. Idiocy and just baffling play calling by Miami. What else is new with McDaniel, who's honestly a dead man walking with that organization? Anyway, Saquon's not going to flex. I'll take the under 73.5 rush yards. Folks, he's only gone over that twice this season. I barely got him inside my top 20 among running backs. I don't really feel good about it. Detroit's given up the 4th fewest rush yards and 71.7 rush yards per game to the running back position. And folks, Barkley is dead last at PFF in yards after contact per attempt. Saquon Barkley We knew regression was going to kick in, but it has been harsh to say the least this season. All right, last game breakdown. Another one questions here before I bid adieu. The next like 6-7 minutes. Ashton Jeanty on Monday night. I'll take the over on 2.5 receptions. He could be quite sneaky good as a receiver in this one against Little D. As Dallas, they're bad everywhere defensively, but especially their pass catching running backs. They've given up the 9th most receptions this season to the position. That's 4.9 per game. 8 guys, 8 have hit the over on 2.5 grabs against them. I mean, he's averaging 76.7% catch rate. He's seen 22 targets his last 5 games. He's caught at least 3 balls in his last 5 games 3 times. So it could be like a 4-catch, 25-yard kind of game for Jeanty through the air. And, of course, get bad the stats on the ground. Probably going to get you at least 55 to 60 yards on the ground. Really good shot at finding the end zone as well. So trust him this week. I think he's a more of a high-end RB2 than maybe the RB1 that you invested in back in August on draft day. All right, questions from here on out. Bring the noise, fools, here on this AMA as I'm painfully watching Washington try to move the ball down the field. Debo had a big reception there. I need more Waddle in this game. That's what's puzzling. Debo up to 7 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. He has been the fantasy star, to say the least. Devon Achane with 98 yards on the ground and 23 through the air. So an impressive total yardage game for him, but no touchdown. And again, Ollie Gordon got in the end zone once and then stuffed when it was most important. And his 2nd and 9 right there, minute 10 to go. Obviously, Washington would like to win this in regulation. All right, getting to your questions. Bloom, 11294. DK or JMO? Give me, ooh, man, that's a tight one. Do you trust DK Metcalf? I'm going to go with Jameson Williams there and ride the hot hand. Lions 220. Swift or Chase Brown? I'm going to go Chase Brown. SDC 85. Tez, Hunt, Wilson. Let's see. Tez, Hunt, Wilson, a half-point PPR. Man, really close. I'm going to go with Tez. Got a good gut feeling there. KWU 1985. Tyrone Tracy. Or Jared Judy and Flex. The answer is never Tyrone Tracy. I go with Judy. M Turner 22, Keenan Allen or Jordan Addison. Maximize the matchup. Again, the Bears, they can't defend a soul right now on that back end defensively. Give me Jordan Addison. KJ Walker 1827, DK Metcalf or Quinshawn Judkins in a full point PPR. Again, I'm going to go with the guaranteed touches. I would say go with Quinshawn Judkins. A really good shot at him getting, 15 to 18 total looks in that game is a big catch for Jones, of all people, of the Washington Commanders. They are in field goal range. I think they're going to win this thing in regulation and send the Miami Dolphins home crying tears in their beers. Alex Rod 90, Fire Daniels. Yeah, I kind of agree with it to a certain extent. Roy Munson 101, Flex, Tez Johnson, Sutton or Keenan Allen. Again, I'm going to go with Tez, man. I got a good feeling he's going to find the end zone. I'm going to trust thy gut. Julio Morales says pick 2. DK Metcalf, A.J. Brown, or Wan'Dale Robinson. I can't get down with A.J. Brown. Just too tough of a projection for him, given the roller coaster ride that he has been on. It's not the greatest match tonight. I'm going to go with Wan'Dale and DK and try to play the best matchups available. Good luck to you there, Julio. Alex Rod, Warren, Dowdle or Jeanty. I have no idea who that other name is. Man, this is embarrassment of riches. I go Jaylen Warren. He ran for over 120 yards in the first matchup. I think there's a really good shot. He goes for maybe 100 combined yards, and I think he finds the end zone as well. So the safer floor there. Oorah God says Adams or Addison a full point PPR. Now I will still go with Adams here. I know he's not at 100%, but again, I feel, he's got that touchdown appeal. He's just a red zone monster. I know Seattle's been dynamite in coverage all season long. Honestly, my pick to represent the NFC are the Seahawks in this year's Super Bowl in Santa Clara. But today they're really going to be tested against those Rammies. Mookie Bookie, Washington or Pitts. That'd be Darnell Washington. Look, I understand the matchup is glorious against the Cincinnati Bengals, but I cannot recommend Darnell Washington with so many tight ends available, and Kyle Pitts is the main man. And you got to remember, too, that Carolina's allowed the fourth most yards of any defense to the tight end position this season. Eagles lover, Tez Johnson or Parker Washington. Again, man, Tez, he's been my call all day long with all these questions that have come in. I'm going to stick to my guns there and say Tez Johnson. Good shot of finding the end zone. All right, that is a wrap, folks, on this lightning quick edition of the Bring the Noise AMA. I'm going to be back here next Sunday with my buddy, Danny Clevenger. She couldn't make it today. She had a Tennis Channel assignment, but we will gladly welcome her back and her beautiful smile. And she always makes these broadcasts tremendous, bringing her energy and information. So for the great Danny Clevenger, I'm Brad Evans. Good luck in your fantasy endeavors. Get that done, Team Huevos.